Have you ever noticed something strange? You get excited about a new goal. Maybe you want to start a business, get in shape, write a book, or finally change your life. So you tell everyone about it. Friends cheer you on. Family says they're proud of you. For a moment it feels amazing. But then something happens. A few days later, the excitement fades, the motivation disappears, and that goal you couldn't stop talking about slowly gets pushed aside. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. A lot of people think they fail because they lack talent, discipline, or opportunity. But sometimes the real problem starts much earlier. Sometimes it starts the moment we open our mouths. There's a powerful psychological reason why sharing a dream too soon can actually make it harder to achieve. And the story of a young man named Simon shows exactly how this happens. Stay with me until the end, because this simple lesson might completely change the way you approach your biggest goals. Simon was the kind of person who was always excited about the future. Every few weeks, he had a brand new idea. One month he wanted to open a shop. Then he decided he would learn pottery. Not long after that, he dreamed about building a house. His mind was full of possibilities. Every new goal felt like the one that would finally change his life. And honestly, most of us know what that's like. We get inspired by something we see, read, or hear. We imagine how different life could be if we followed through. The problem usually isn't a lack of dreams. Most people have more dreams than they know what to do with. The real challenge comes after the excitement wears off. That's where things get difficult. That's where consistency matters. Simon wasn't short on ambition. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't incapable. He simply struggled with the part that many people struggle with, the quiet, boring work that has to happen after the inspiration fades. There was one habit Simon repeated every single time he had a new goal. Before he ever started working, he made sure everyone knew about it. He walked around telling people what he was going to accomplish. He talked about his future shop. He talked about the beautiful pottery he would create. He talked about the house he planned to build. And every time, people responded the same way. They encouraged him. They praised him. They told him how impressive his plans sounded. Simon loved those reactions. They made him feel important. They made him feel successful before he had actually done anything. The problem was that the praise became a substitute for progress. He got the emotional reward without earning it. His brain felt satisfied before the work even started. So when it came time to take action, the drive was gone. The excitement had already been spent. That's a mistake many people make without realizing it. Talking about a goal can feel productive, but talking and doing are not the same thing. Real progress only happens when the work begins. This cycle followed Simon for years. He'd get excited about a new idea. He'd tell everyone about it. People would cheer him on, and for a few days, he'd feel unstoppable. But then the excitement would wear off. The work would start to feel hard. Little by little, he'd lose interest and move on to the next dream. Then the whole thing would happen again. Over time, something inside him began to change. Not for the better. He looked around and realized he had nothing to show for all those plans. No shop, no pottery business, no house, just unfinished ideas. That hit him hard. He started questioning himself. Maybe you've felt that before too. Not because you aren't capable, but because you keep watching yourself quit. That's what slowly destroys confidence. Simon's problem wasn't a lack of talent. It wasn't bad luck either. His real problem was a habit he repeated over and over. The truth is, most failures don't come from one big mistake. They come from small patterns that we keep repeating until they become our reality. One evening, when Simon was feeling especially discouraged, an older man from the village sat down beside him. This elder wasn't known for giving long speeches. He was quiet, thoughtful, and respected by everyone. After listening to Simon's frustrations, he simply asked him to come back the next morning. When Simon arrived, the elder was holding 2 seeds. He handed one seed to Simon and told him to plant it in the soil. Simon dug a small hole, placed the seed inside, and covered it with dirt. Then the elder did something strange. He held the second seed high in the air and called people over to look at it. He proudly announced how this seed would one day become a beautiful tree. The children clapped. People smiled. Then he placed that seed on a rock where everyone could see it. Days turned into weeks. The buried seed stayed hidden underground. No one talked about it. No one praised it. No one even noticed it. But quietly, beneath the surface, it began to grow. The elder watered it every day without saying a word. Meanwhile, the seed on the rock sat in the sun. It never grew. It slowly dried out. Birds picked at it. Eventually, it disappeared completely. When Simon saw the difference, the lesson finally clicked. The elder told him something he would never forget. A seed needs darkness before it can become a tree. It needs time. It needs protection. It doesn't grow because people talk about it. It grows because it stays hidden long enough to develop roots. Dreams work the same way. When they're new, they're fragile. If you expose them too early, they can lose their strength. But when you quietly work on them day after day, they begin to take root, and one day, the results become impossible to ignore. What's interesting is that this isn't just a nice story. There's a real reason this happens. When you tell people about a goal, your brain often treats that conversation like progress. You get encouragement, you get compliments, you get that little rush of feeling successful. The problem is that you haven't actually done anything yet. You've only talked about doing it, but your brain still enjoys the reward. Think about someone who announces they're going to lose 50 pounds. Everyone tells them how great that is. Or someone says they're learning Spanish, starting a business, or writing a book. People immediately respond with support and admiration. It feels good, maybe a little too good. Sometimes that feeling becomes enough to satisfy the need that should have pushed you into action. That's why so many goals fade after they're announced. The energy gets spent on talking instead of doing. The focus shifts from the work itself to other people's reactions. I've learned that some of the most productive seasons in life happen when nobody knows what you're working on. No updates, no big announcements, just consistent effort behind the scenes. Save your energy for the work. Let your actions carry the weight. When the results finally show up, you won't need to explain anything. The work will speak for itself. After learning the lesson of the 2 seeds, Simon made a choice that changed everything. He stopped talking about what he wanted to do and started doing it. This time, he picked one simple project. He decided to build a wooden chair. He didn't tell his friends. He didn't walk around the village announcing it. He didn't look for encouragement. He just got to work. Every evening, after finishing his daily responsibilities, he spent time shaping wood with his own hands. Some days went well, other days didn't. He made mistakes. He cut pieces wrong. He had to start over more than once. But instead of quitting like he always had, he kept going, one day at a time, one small step at a time. That's when he discovered something important. Real progress doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from showing up again and again, even when nobody is watching. That's how almost every meaningful success is built through small actions repeated long enough to matter. Weeks later, the chair was finally finished. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Simon could touch it, sit in it, look at it, and know that he had actually completed something. For the first time in a long while, he felt proud of himself. Not because someone praised him, not because people applauded his plans, but because he had followed through. That feeling was different. It was deeper. It lasted longer. One day, a neighbor saw the chair and asked where it came from. When Simon explained that he had built it himself, people were surprised. Nobody even knew he had been working on it. And that's what made it powerful. The chair spoke for itself. Simon didn't need to convince anyone. He didn't need to make promises. The proof was sitting right there in front of them. That's the difference between talking about success and actually creating it. Words can impress people for a moment. Results leave a lasting impression. From that point on, Simon approached life differently. He kept working quietly. After the chair came a table, then a shelf, then another project after that. He stopped chasing attention and focused on improving his skills. Year after year, his work got better. Eventually, people throughout the village knew him as a talented craftsman. But what was interesting is that they rarely heard him talk about his future plans. He no longer felt the need to announce everything he wanted to do. He simply worked. Then he let the finished result speak for him. That's a lesson a lot of people never learn. The most successful people are often not the loudest people in the room. They're usually the ones putting in the work while nobody is paying attention. So if you're working towards something important right now, maybe you don't need to tell everyone about it. Maybe you don't need approval yet. Keep building. Stay patient. Stay focused. Let your effort grow roots before you show it to the world. And when the time comes, your results will tell the story far better than words ever could. At the end of the day, the lesson is actually pretty simple. Not every dream needs to be announced. Not every goal needs an audience. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stay quiet and get to work. Let your effort happen behind the scenes. Let your progress grow without needing constant attention. That's what Simon finally learned. The moment he stopped talking about what he was going to do and started focusing on what he was actually doing, his life began to change. And honestly, I think that's something many of us need to hear. It's easy to get excited about a dream. It's much harder to stay committed when nobody is cheering for you. But that's where real growth happens. So if there's something important you've been wanting to build, maybe this is your sign to stop announcing it and start working on it. One step, one day, one small win at a time. Then let the results tell the story. And if today's story gave you a new way to think about success, discipline, and the power of silence, make sure to subscribe to Quiet Growth Lab. We share stories like this to help you grow stronger, wiser, and more focused in everyday life. Thank you for spending your time with us today. I truly appreciate you being here. Keep believing in your goals. Keep showing up, even when nobody notices. One day, the life you're building in silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Until next time, take care and keep growing.